a TMJ4 Lighthouse investigation. The owner of an unlicensed daycare in Waukesha referred for criminal charges after a child died in her care.
The owner admits she's been told for years her in-home daycare was illegal, that she needed to shut down and follow the rules.
I know it sounds absurd because he didn't live, but I wanted to make sure they were safe, and I knew they were here. I know that he was never hurt. There was no abuse. He had no trauma, no bruises, no injuries of any kind.
That is Amy Quakkelaar. Her home is at the center of the investigation. A homemade playground fills the backyard, indicating this was a place where kids spent a lot of time.
I've been reporting on illegal daycare since 2011, including daycares where the owner is repeatedly ordered to shut down, but continues to break the law. When we heard about this child's death last week, I requested the DCF records that show the same pattern. Lighthouse reporter Ryan Jenkins today walks us through the repeated violations at this Waukesha daycare and how the owner explains why she did it.
This is where the Wisconsin Department of Children and Families says an unlicensed daycare operation operated for years. They issued multiple orders telling the operator to stop childcare, but those orders were ignored. Ultimately, a baby died. Today, we showed up at this home and knocked on the door, and the woman at the center of the investigation answered.
What would you like to know?
Could we open the door? Is that okay? This is Amy Quakkelaar, a woman who the Wisconsin Department of Children and Family Services referred charges against following an infant's death at her home last month. The TMJ4 Lighthouse team has learned that since 2018, DCF has been telling Amy she is watching too many kids and needs a license. And since 2021, they've issued several orders telling her to shut down her operation. I wanted to know what happened and why she ignored those warnings.
I actually had told them I can't watch the kids anymore, and they asked me to just hang out for a little longer. Their kids love me. They call me grandma. They've known me since before they were born, and they weren't in a position to go anywhere else. And I didn't want to do that to them. So I continued because they were my friends.
And you continued even though you had received orders
Correct.
to stop?
Correct. And they knew that too. The family knew that as well.
Amy says the baby who passed away at her home in October was the child of a close family friend.
There was no trauma. There was no choking. We don't have a reason. I'm assuming SIDS.
While she says the cause of the death remains unknown, Amy knows the child shouldn't have been there in the first place. You know, the Department of Children and Families had come out and issued orders for you to stop operating.
Yes.
Why didn't you go through the process to get licensed so that you could continue to help these families?
So that was the concern. That was actually the next step. Ultimately, we decided it was a lot, and I didn't want to continue. I wanted to stop doing this.
As the medical examiner works to learn what caused this baby's death, DCF has now referred charges to the Waukesha County District Attorney's Office, which confirms charges for operating a child care center without a license are under review. A decision could take up to 3 months. Do you wish you would have said no to watching that baby in hindsight?
I've considered that a couple of times, but I would still feel guilty that he wasn't here, and that I wish I could have, if he'd have been here, maybe I could have done something different. So at least I know he was loved for the months he had.
As the investigation plays out, Amy says she was only trying to help. She said news stories about child abuse combined with the cost of daycare put her friends in a desperate situation.
I know it sounds absurd because he didn't live, but I wanted to make sure they were safe, and I knew they were here.
A woman wanting to provide a safe place for kids now under investigation yet again for ignoring regulations. Reporting in Waukesha, Ryan Jenkins, TMJ4 News.
Our Lighthouse team is committed to telling stories that go further, ask tough questions, and hold the powerful accountable. See all of our reporting by scanning this QR code on your screen or visit tmj4.com/lighthouse.